Hi everyone. Today I'm starting an exciting new series called Second Life Ranker. It's about Yeonwoo, whose brother disappeared years ago. He's devastated to learn of his death, and the journey that follows is intense and thrilling. If you want to see more episodes frequently, comment below for the next part, and please smash that like button. Let's get started. The story begins with our main protagonist, Cha Yeonwoo, quietly looking at his brother's smiling face in a photograph in his room. They were twins with identical features, yet so different from each other. Yeonwoo looked at the photos, remembering how, 5 years later, his brother's death was announced in an obituary. He recalled how their sick mother, who had been desperately searching for her missing son, died 3 years ago. Supported by relatives, Yeonwoo knew his mother, who had been ill for a long time, was now in a better place. Standing in front of the flyers with his brother's picture, Yeonwoo crumpled one and tossed it onto the floor as he left the house. Yeonwoo had already given up on finding his brother and decided to leave Korea for military service in Africa. During the flight, he doubted he would ever return to Korea. Now, sitting on the couch, he opened a box and found a photograph and a watch inside. In the photograph, his brother stood in front of a shabby house, wearing some kind of medieval armor. Next to him were people with unusual appearances. Had he been filming a movie somewhere? He wondered. Yeonwoo had roamed around all sorts of places, but he had never seen anything like this. Putting the photograph down, Yeonwoo examined the pocket watch. It appeared worn out and threadbare, almost as if it were over a century old. The watch no longer ticked. Only the Roman numeral Tathin and the hour hand were intact. He attempted to have it repaired by a jeweler, but they informed him it was too rusty to salvage. "I gave this to my brother as a present." When they turned 19, entering their junior year of high school, the brothers exchanged gifts on their birthday. The younger brother gave Yeonwoo a study book, and in return, Yeonwoo gifted his brother a pocket watch to wish him luck on his CSAT. This was the very same pocket watch. Yeonwoo grasped the pocket watch. It slipped into his palm, fitting perfectly. "I knew it." He recalled wandering through countless shops in search of a pocket watch that would fit snugly in his hand. Turning the watch over, Yeonwoo discovered a cursive engraving in one corner on the back. J.W. Ka. "Whoa, I really needed a watch. Thanks, bro. This is way cooler than a digital watch." "What do you think? Your big brother's got good taste. But what's engraved here?" "JW are the initials of my first name, but what is Ka?" "That's Cha, our family name." "How is this Cha?" "Look, it's spelled C-A-H. "What? Damn it, give it to me." "Why?" "I'm gonna bring it back to the shop to have it fixed." "It's okay, don't bother. I'll take it. From now on, I'll just write C-A-H whenever I write my name." The younger brother confidently pocketed the watch. Later, he proudly wrote K as his surname on his passport application. At that time, Yeonwoo had felt both sorry and grateful simultaneously, but now he chuckled as he recalled it. As he ran his hand over the pocket watch, he accidentally pressed a knob. "Isn't it already broken?" he wondered. The knob slid into the watch, and suddenly the hour hand, frozen until then, began to move. "To my older brother, who will listen to this sometime in the future," a familiar voice echoed in his head. Yeonwoo jumped to his feet instinctively. It was a voice he hadn't heard in 5 years, one he thought he would never hear again, his brother's voice. His heart started pounding wildly. "By the time you hear this, I guess I will already be dead." Yeonwoo checked if there was a speaker inside the pocket watch but found nothing. The voice was truly inside his head. "How is this possible?" he wondered. "I am sorry. You all had a hard time because of me, didn't you? I just wanted to find a cure for Mom. I thought I could return home soon, but time passed too quickly." "What?" His eyes widened. Suddenly, a flood of his brother's memories passed before his eyes like a panorama. It was a diary. October 9th, 2013. A mysterious text message flashed on my phone screen. It promised to grant any wish I made. There were no explanations, just buttons to accept or decline. Normally, I would have dismissed it as a prank, But with Mom in the hospital growing weaker by the day, I couldn't help but hope. So, I hesitantly pressed the yes button, wishing desperately for Mom's recovery. Nothing changed. I felt empty and deceived. It turned out to be nothing more than a cruel joke. Yet, from that day forward, I started having peculiar dreams of ascending a seemingly endless tower with 99 floors. October 12th, 2013. It wasn't a dream. It was real. Everything was crystal clear. I found myself in a world teeming with creatures like elves and dwarves, alongside menacing monsters such as orcs, trolls, and dragons. It was a realm where multiple universes and dimensions converged in one place. At the heart of it all stood a towering structure, beckoning people from across the globe to ascend its heights. Legend had it that reaching the 90th ninth floor would grant one the status of a god. Or so I overheard. Locals pointed to the tower, dubbing it the Tower of the Sun God, or Obelisk, though these names meant little to me. What mattered most was the belief that somewhere within this colossal edifice lay the panacea, an elixir capable of curing all illnesses. With it in hand, I could save Mom from her affliction. October 28th, 2013. Teaming up with like-minded friends, I embarked on the daunting task of climbing the tower. It proved to be a grueling endeavor. Far from resembling a mere game, this world was starkly real. Every encounter with monsters posed mortal dangers, and the stakes were high. Death meant the end of everything. In contrast to my frailty in the real world, here I discovered newfound strength and agility, guided by ancient runes that illuminated our path. Our team achieved a milestone by being the first to conquer the initial 10 floors within 4 days. As our journey progressed, a sobering realization dawned upon me. I couldn't straddle both the real world and the tower indefinitely. November 9th, 2013. I've made my decision. Trying to explain this place to my brother proves futile every time I face him. How do I say it? There's a world called the Tower, and I'm searching for medicine there? Despite his gruff exterior, my brother has a warm heart. What would he say? I imagine he'd offer to take my place. That can't happen. In the end, I resolved to leave home. They'll search for me, but I'll be gone for at least 6 months. I'm confident I can find the elixir by then. And just like that, I severed ties with the real world. December 1st, 2013. My teammates and I have christened our team Arthea. Arthea excels in every aspect, teamwork and individual skills alike. We are at the pinnacle of our abilities. We've swiftly conquered numerous floors, and our name resounds throughout the tower. It seems possible that I could acquire the panacea sooner than anticipated. September 7th, 2014. Our ascent has slowed considerably. Initially expecting to need only 6 months, it now seems I may be here for another year. November 11th, 2014. We clashed with high-ranking clans who view us as a threat. This has added more obstacles to our path. February 31st, 2015. Negotiations have collapsed. War has erupted. July 2nd, 2015. The alliance of clans we were battling has crumbled. Arthea, which began with just 12 members, now ranks among the top 10 largest clans. All our teammates hold high ranks, and as Arthea's leader, I've ascended to 9th place. I'm reputed to be the quickest to enter the top 10. But there's no time to celebrate. The war has delayed our search for the elixir. We must accelerate our climb up the tower. March 4th, 2016. I've fallen in love. September 19th, 2016. Another conflict has erupted. Arthea, driven to ascend further, finds itself at odds with other high-ranking clans intent on maintaining the status quo. I've been exerting every effort to negotiate peace, but it's proving to be an uphill battle. Complicating matters, some of our teammates sympathize with the opposing clans, but fear expressing their views openly. Despite my awareness of this tension, I've urged our clan to press onward in our ascent of the tower, inevitably leading to clashes. Yet, time continues its relentless march forward, and I feel as though I'm losing my sanity. January the 2nd, 2017. Arthia has now risen to 5th place. However, the ongoing war persists, and exhaustion weighs heavily on everyone. June 6, 2017. A traitor was uncovered within our clan. We managed to eliminate them before they could incite further betrayal, but the damage has fractured our team. Distrust festers among us, leading members to depart one by one. July 1st, 2017. My body feels burdened. I have been poisoned. October 30th, 2017. Half of our clan is lost. We suffer continuous defeats, and fear prevents us from venturing to higher floors. Despite my inquiries, information on the elixir remains elusive. Meanwhile, my body deteriorates. November 1st, 2017. The person I loved betrayed me with a dagger aimed at my heart. I narrowly defended against the attack, but I struggle to counteract the poison ravaging my body. December 30th, 2017. I miss my brother. February 1st, 2018. I am the sole survivor of Arthia. How did everything unravel? Did my trust in others falter? Was I too consumed with my own goals, neglecting my comrades? Or perhaps abandoning my family was the catalyst? February 28th, 2018. On the final day of February, I finally obtained the elixir. Now the challenge lies in safely delivering it home. But escape from the tower is impossible amidst relentless pursuit. Suspicion surrounds me. They believe I intend to use the elixir to counteract the poison within me. Alone and under siege, I realize there is only one person I can truly trust. This marks the end of my diary. I leave it behind, trusting that my brother will find his way here. Hyung, if you read this, retrieve the elixir and bring it safely to our mom. The message concluded abruptly. Speechless, Yeonwoo scrutinized the pocket watch once more, hoping to uncover any lingering trace or hidden message from his brother. Yet, his search yielded nothing. With a heavy plop, Yeonwoo sank into the sofa, clutching the worn pocket watch in silence. Its surface bore several scratches, and the minute hand was conspicuously absent. It felt as though his brother's experiences from the other side were unfolding vividly before his eyes. Yeonwoo gently turned the knob once again. To my older brother, who will listen to this sometime in the future, by the time you hear this... His brother's voice began the recording again. Yeonwoo wound the knob back. By the time you hear this... Yeonwoo repeated the motion, rewinding the watch to that phrase over and over. Each time, his brother's voice echoed in his head. The same voice, the same tone, the same diary, starting the succession process. Suddenly, a small screen appeared behind his retina. It was an interface system. He had connected to the tower. Yeonwoo's body began to change. Something writhed within his lower abdomen. It felt as if a snake had coiled in his stomach, raising its head. The sensation was oddly refreshing, yet unsettling, as if a strange seed were taking root inside him. This was mana, the fundamental element of the world, and the power wielded by those from other realms and the tower. A burst of mana exploded within him, spreading unpredictably through his body. He felt internal shifts, and then, crackle, crunch. His body twisted and convulsed, overcome by a searing pain that felt like he was being torn apart and pierced by millions of needles. Though trained to endure torture in military school, this was an entirely different ordeal. Despite the agony, Yeonwoo clung to his sanity. Not a single groan escaped his lips. He remained seated, resolutely winding the pocket watch and listening to his brother's voice again and again. By the time you... His skeleton was transforming, joints realigning, and muscles simultaneously softening and firming. A foul black substance seeped from his torn skin, purging impurities from his body as his muscles and skeleton were refined. The pain was excruciating, yet Yeonwoo knew it was nothing compared to what his brother had endured. After what felt like an eternity, the process finally concluded. Awakening finished. Your awakening process is incomplete. Current progress, 5%. Your current body is inadequate to complete the succession process. Refine your body to complete the succession process. As your body improves, the succession progress will also advance. Your current status is incomplete dragon body. Your physical abilities have partially improved. Your traits have been confirmed. Your skills have been registered. You have acquired the qualifications of a player. You can only register once inside Obelisk. Yeonwoo was in no condition to focus on the strange voice's words. The intense pain had left strong emotions lingering in his mind, but he couldn't tear his eyes away from the pocket watch. To my older brother, who will listen to this sometime in the future. As Yeonwoo rewound the watch, he absorbed the 5 years' worth of memories his brother had left within the diary. Memories of first meeting his teammates and founding Arthea. Memories of their joy after successfully clearing one of the hardest floors. Memories of standing back to back, fighting in the war. Memories of being drenched in blood and feeling utterly exhausted. Memories of kissing his love for the first time and of the tears from her betrayal. Memories of walking alone to confront his enemies. These memories flooded his mind like a torrent, and as they integrated into him, Yeonwoo could feel all the happiness, sadness, and other emotions his brother had experienced. Inside, Yeonwoo had become his brother. When the assimilation was complete, the strange voice spoke once more. Player, Yeonwoo Cha. Trait, cold-blooded. Strength, 10. Dexterity, 15. Health, 12. Magic power, 21. Skills, draconic eyes, sense strengthening, precognition. Yeonwoo awoke from the flood of thoughts. As he opened his eyes, a transparent panel appeared before him. It was true. All of it. He had been hoping it was a lie, wishing it was just a dream or hallucination. But it wasn't. It was all true. Yeonwoo's expression grew grim. He now understood everything his brother had endured, even the identity of his brother's killer and the reason his brother had returned the way he had after 5 years. The tower was a place that could turn someone into a god. But to Yeonwoo, it was nothing more than a lawless realm where people tore each other apart. His brother had been devoured by the starving demons there. If that's the case, he spoke aloud, I will return the favor. He would play by their rules. I will give it back equally to you all. Yeonwoo had inherited his brother's abilities and was now a player with the minimum requirements to climb the tower. It was his time to act. The grief in his eyes vanished, replaced by a cold fury. Yeonwoo silently stared at the transparent panel in front of him. So, this is the status window. The status window had 3 tabs labeled Traits, Attributes, and Skills. Traits showed the player's personality or talents. The first trait his brother had obtained was Perfect Adaptability, the ability to communicate with his surroundings. His brother had managed to overcome many dangers by using perfect adaptability to communicate with objects or skills. The Attributes tab assessed a player's capabilities, while Skills listed the standardized skills players could use inside the tower. It's just like a game, he thought. When talking about Obelisk, his brother had said it might look like a game, but it was real. Now he understood why. Currently, I have Cold-Blooded as my trait. Trait, Cold-Blooded, an ability to maintain rational thought in any situation. Shows great immunity to mind control and brainwash class curses. This was a talent Yeonwoo already possessed due to his training as a professional soldier. It allowed him to make cool-headed decisions in chaotic situations and command his unit on the front lines. Not bad, he thought. Actually, it wasn't just not bad, it was perfect. Having an ace in his hand that would help protect him in a world full of bizarre magic and skills was crucial. It's just that my attributes are too weak. Even though he had gone through an awakening as a player and his body had improved, he was still just a normal human. On average, his attributes were all below 20, making him too weak to climb the tower, where all sorts of monsters lurked. However, it was no surprise. He had no idea how to handle mana, and he wasn't particularly skilled at anything. His knowledge of skills was also insufficient. The only thing he could rely on was his instincts, honed by war. Under the Skills tab, he saw a list. Draconic eyes. eyes of a dragon, sees the truth, can partially peek into an object's or person's abilities. Sense strengthening. The 5 senses are greatly improved. Precognition. Special, sees into the near future. The draconic eyes were the only skill his brother had left behind for him through the succession process in the pocket watch. Yeonwoo managed to make contact with an ancient dragon on the 11th floor by chance. I wonder if this is a souvenir from that encounter. Draconic species were arrogant and ferocious by nature, yet they also sought the truth. It seemed his brother's exposure to their nature had given him eyes that could see the truth. He would have to see how helpful this skill would be in the future. It seems that sense strengthening was generated according to my trait. This skill allowed him increased control over his 5 senses: sight, hearing, touch, smell, and taste. Yeonwoo liked this skill the most. Battlefields were unpredictable. He might have to locate enemies out of sight, track down the faint smell of oil, or listen for distant footsteps. Having the ability to control his senses would be invaluable once he began climbing the tower. This is the one that bothers me the most. Yeonwoo focused on the final skill, precognition. He looked at the pocket watch in his hand. Is it because of this? Skills were assigned according to players' traits, but sometimes the player's environment or their most precious possession had an influence, especially if the skill was marked special. It was safe to say that precognition was a skill unique to him. All right, let's do this. Yeonwoo took a deep breath. Thanks to his brother's help, he had a significant advantage compared to other players. Even so, a long and arduous journey lay ahead. The ones who had driven his brother to his death were among the strongest high-rankers, having honed their abilities over years, some for even hundreds of years. He had a long way to go to catch up with them. The image of his brother in the photograph surfaced in his mind. You only wanted me to find the elixir, and then live the rest of my life peacefully, but... He clenched his fist, his veins bulging. I can't just let things go. Yeonwoo proceeded to sort out his personal affairs. Sergeant Cha, what do you mean you're leaving the army so suddenly? His commander's furious voice rang through the phone, as Yeonwoo had expected. The commander had only allowed him to return to Korea after hearing about his brother's death, expecting Yeonwoo to take time to grieve and sort himself out. Instead, Yeonwoo had applied for a discharge without any warning. If Yeonwoo were the commander, he would be mad too. However, Yeonwoo did not specify a reason for his application. Did something happen? Do you have complaints? If you do, just tell me. If Kane leaves, what am I supposed to... I'm sorry. Yeonwoo hung up right after apologizing. His phone rang again, but he turned it off and tossed it into a garbage can on the street. The commander had treated him like a son, so Yeonwoo needed to sever the connection even more firmly. The only thing left was his house, which he put on the real estate market. It had been empty since he left, and he saw no reason to keep it. He didn't want a place to come back to. He purchased several items, filling a new backpack with basic clothing, as many combat rations as he could fit, and dozens of knives he had used in the army. Additionally, he packed survival gear such as first aid kits. The thought of acquiring firearms and bombs from the black market crossed his mind, but was quickly dismissed. The tower is designed to test a player's skills. It's better to avoid relying on those things. Plus, without a steady supply of ammunition, they just weigh me down. Once everything was prepared, Yeonwoo headed to a quiet park early in the morning. He wore jeans and a black hoodie with the hood pulled low over his eyes, slinging the fully packed backpack onto his right shoulder. He had already disposed of his uniform and his old bag. Considering the time difference between Obelisk and the real world, it must have been about a week since the last round began. To enter the tower, he needed to pass through a place known as the tutorial first, a testing ground for aspiring players. Despite being a week behind, Yeonwoo chose to proceed. Latecomers can still turn the tables. If I catch up with the leaders, I'll earn more points and gain access to exclusive locations for late arrivals. Plus, A steely determination flickered in Yeonwoo's eyes. I'm certain he'll appear around this time. As Yeonwoo meticulously plotted his next moves, he reversed the knob on his brother's pocket watch. Click. A cluster of lights materialized in the park's center, coalescing into a swirling shadow that formed into a doorway. It was the portal to the world of the tower. Yeonwoo stepped through without hesitation. His gaze was more resolute than ever. From this point forward, everyone beyond this gate will know who they're dealing with. I am Cha Jong-woo. The gate sealed shut behind him. If you seek godhood, ascend the tower. You have now reached floor 0, the tutorial hall. Yeonwoo squinted against the bright light that stung his eyes, causing them to water. His vision wavered intensely, and he felt a dizzying sensation akin to being high in the sky. Your trait, cold-blooded, has aided in maintaining your composure. Sensing something stirring within him, Yeonwoo steadied himself against the spinning disorientation. Gradually, the nausea subsided, allowing him to survey his surroundings with more clarity. He stood within a corridor, stretching straight ahead. The walls were hewn from solid rock, adorned with stones emitting a faint, intermittent glow along the ceiling. Yet the illumination was sparse, revealing only 2 meters ahead while the rest lay cloaked in darkness. I'm really here. Yeonwoo clenched his fists, recalling the scene vividly from his brother's diary. The tower served both as a gateway and a crucible, testing those who aspired to attain divinity. Admission wasn't granted easily. Candidates had to prove their worthiness through rigorous trials. The starting point for these trials, often referred to as Floor 0, was the tutorial hall. The individuals who harmed Jong-woo await just beyond this point. Even with his eyes closed, Yeonwoo could vividly recall scenes from the diary, visualizing the faces of those who had betrayed his brother and ultimately led to his demise. Despite the surge of emotions, he maintained a calm demeanor. Just a little longer. I'll be there soon. Entering the tower required passing the tutorial with not just any high score, but the highest possible. I must secure the top spot. Achieving this goal wouldn't come easily. The tower interconnected myriad dimensions, realms, and worlds, admitting only the most capable as players. Among Earth's contenders, Yeonwoo ranked as a strong candidate, yet his weaknesses were apparent compared to others. Focusing solely on physical prowess and instinctual skills left him vulnerable. He could perish before advancing a few steps in the tutorial. Yet, the tutorial is where I earn my qualification. His brother had begun with a frail physique, yet managed to conquer the tutorial and swiftly rise to 6th place in the rankings, setting a record for the fastest ascent. The tutorial didn't merely assess physical prowess, but also evaluated talents, judgment, agility, resourcefulness, and decisiveness to compile an overall rating for each player. Despite its importance, many candidates underestimated its dangers, rushing in heedlessly and meeting their demise. Yeonwoo, however, understood both the peril and the opportunity the tutorial presented. There are hidden pieces scattered everywhere. I must gather as many as I can to complete my succession process. His status window displayed incomplete dragon body 5%, signifying that he hadn't fully absorbed his brother's achievements yet. Yeonwoo was determined to refine himself extensively to replace incomplete with complete. For now, I'll focus on perfecting my vessel. After mentally organizing his plan, Yeonwoo retrieved a white mask from his bag and secured it over his face. Anticipating encounters with numerous individuals, he concealed his identity before proceeding cautiously down the passage. He didn't know how long he had been walking when suddenly, a faint blue glow materialized in the air. A visitor at this hour? I almost overlooked you and let you slip by. With those words, a portal opened and a figure descended from it. Reacting instantly, Yeonwoo stepped back and assumed a defensive stance, crossing 2 daggers in front of his chest. The stranger's appearance was unsettling, a creature with bumpy, scabrous skin, standing only waist-high. It had long, slanted eyes and fangs protruding from its thick lips. The sight disgusted him. It was a goblin, albeit different from those he had read about in the diary. Unlike typical goblins driven by instinct and lacking intelligence, this one sported a monocle over one eye and wore a fancy tuxedo. Its demeanor was surprisingly refined, exuding an air of dignity. Though I am usually quite laid back, your reaction has wounded my feelings. Why not lower your daggers? Despite its words, the goblin smiled cheerfully and winked. It was then that Yeonwoo recognized the creature. This was one of the guardians, responsible for overseeing the floors and trials within the tower. Greetings, I am Evilka, guardian of Floor 0. It seems our meeting was destined. Shall we exchange a round of applause? The goblin chuckled, its voice echoing in the dimly lit passage. Yeonwoo sheathed his daggers. He understood that the guardians were integral to the tower, guiding players through its trials. There was no need for unnecessary suspicion. Ho, placing your trust in me already? It's wise to heed a guardian's advice, even if it seems trivial. Oh my, looks like you've got some knowledge about us. I thought you were just shy because of that mask. Well, now that we're on the same page, this should make things easier. Evilka began explaining in a light-hearted manner. The tutorial is split into 7 sections, from A to F. Each section presents a unique environment and challenge. Your performance within a set time frame will determine your score for each section. Once you've completed all sections, your scores will be totaled, and the results will be announced. Yeonwoo had gleaned some understanding of the rules from the diary, but to confirm and maintain a guise of unfamiliarity, he inquired, "Do I need to complete all 7 sections?" Not necessarily. You only need to demonstrate the minimum qualifications required in the tutorial. If you believe your score is satisfactory, you can opt to stop, though completing all sections typically yields a higher score. What are the benefits of achieving a higher score? Players receive rewards based on their scores. It's only fair to incentivize improvement, don't you agree? The tower and its guardians take this quite seriously. How long does the tutorial last? Players have 30 days. You're free to allocate time as you see fit for each section. However, Evilka adjusted his monocle with a smile. This round began a week ago, leaving 3 weeks remaining. What's your preference? Wait for the next round? Keep in mind, a week might seem short, but it's already a quarter of the tutorial period. The frontrunners have likely surged ahead during this time, making it challenging for latecomers to catch up. The higher the score, the better the rewards, and the greater the likelihood of passing the tutorial. Despite Yeonwoo facing a challenging start, he couldn't help but smirk faintly. I anticipated as much. Evilka remained unfazed by Yeonwoo's reaction and continued his explanation. While it's termed a tutorial, it's still quite demanding. Typically, we advise players to form a party of 3 to 5 members for each section. It enhances the chances of progressing smoothly. So, if I complete a section alone, I'll earn a higher score, correct? Yes, but it will be considerably more difficult. If a solitary player catches up with leading parties later on, are there any advantages? Evilk's eyes gleamed with understanding as he discerned Yeonwoo's intention. His grin widened, accentuating his prominent fangs. The tower evolves based on players' achievements. Scores are adjusted according to individual accomplishments, so you needn't worry about that. Got it. With everything confirmed, Yeonwoo began to loosen up his muscles with light stretches. No matter what, I have to eliminate that guy. If I don't, it'll throw off the entire plan. Yeonwoo recalled the crucial hidden piece that could only be secured during the tutorial, the individual who appeared sporadically. Removing him would facilitate the succession process. His muscles tightened, blood surged faster, and his mind sharpened. Evilka took a step back, sensing Yeonwoo's determination to act independently. He had encountered players like him before, who either charged ahead recklessly or demonstrated remarkable prowess. Evilka found both outcomes entertaining, so he didn't intervene. If that's your decision. Evilka flicked his fingers, conjuring a large panel in the air. Initiating Floor 0 trial. Trial. As a participant aspiring to ascend the tower and achieve godhood, Prove your worth by overcoming 7 gates and challenges within the time limit. Objective: attain a high score within the allotted time. Let the trial commence. With a dignified farewell, Evilka vanished like the wind, leaving behind a timer in his place. Approximately 22 days and 21 hours left. Yeonwoo gripped his dagger tightly and advanced. Let's get started. A new message appeared as he crossed the threshold into Section A. You have entered Section A. Either breach or neutralize all traps in this section. The passage ahead stretched out straight, darkness seemingly beckoning him. Yeonwoo proceeded cautiously, his senses sharp and alert. Despite the passage of time, nothing stirred, almost unnervingly so, as if nothing existed at all. An ordinary person might have relaxed, but Yeonwoo remained vigilant. Evilka's advice about the advantage of smaller teams resonated, reminding him not to underestimate potential dangers. After all, danger could strike unexpectedly, sweeping through like a raging storm. Just like now. A steel arrow sliced through the darkness, and Yeonwoo instinctively twisted his body aside. The arrow grazed his left forearm, leaving a searing pain in its wake. His clothes tore, and blood spattered. A steel arrow! Yeonwoo snapped back to reality, scowling at the metal-shafted arrow deeply embedded in the wall. If it had struck his arm, it could have severed it. Had it hit his head or abdomen, he would likely be dead. The diary had warned him about the traps scattered throughout Section A, but their positions were randomized with each encounter, rendering his brother's experiences less useful. All he could do was remain vigilant and navigate through them carefully. A barrage of steel arrows relentlessly targeted Yeonwoo from multiple directions, their origins obscured in the darkness. Reacting swiftly, he dropped low and rolled forward, clutching his backpack tightly. Its bulk provided some protection, a strategic choice for this very reason. 3 arrows struck the backpack with such force that each impact felt like it could sever his arm. 2 arrows even managed to punch through, their tips peeking out like shy intruders. Managing to regain his footing, Yeonwoo pressed himself against a wall, minimizing his exposure to the unseen assailants, a hard-learned lesson from his immediate ordeal. Yet, even as he focused on the threats ahead, traps were cunningly set behind and below him. Suddenly, a sharp noise pierced the air, and an arrow buried itself deep into his left thigh. Pain exploded like fireworks in his mind, but he clenched his teeth and attempted to turn, only to feel more arrows ripping through his backpack. This time, they pierced his left shoulder, forearm, and ribs with merciless precision,